Okay, so I've just checked with my supervisor, and today's task is to clean out Scooby's kennel. Scooby's a 7-month French Mastiff cross. So I've just got to go get some supplies. First being, I needed a slip lead. Then I'll need a pooper scooper. We use this hose and hose. Hi, Scooby Scoob. Your kennel's full of poop. Oh, Scoob, come on. Come on, Scoob. Scooby! Yeah. Scooby-Doo, come on. Oh, is that for breakfast? Scooby, 2 seconds. Can I take off the slip lead? Drop my earplugs. Oh, he's a good boy. Good boy, Scooby. Good boy. And that's me there. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy, Scooby? Oh, Bob. Yeah, you're a good boy. question 1 is, what is a hazard or risk in the tasks to be completed? Okay, so with cleaning out Scooby's kennel here, I'm at risk for being bitten, being scratched. The amount of times I've ripped my shirts on the door to that kennel, so that's a risk. I need to be careful when going in and out so I don't get caught. There's also the risk of slips, trips and falls because it can get a bit slippery in there when it's wet. We also need to look out for dog escapes, sorry. Scooby can jump pretty high but he can't get out of there, which is good. We also need to watch out for dogs attacking other dogs, so making sure that all the kennel doors are secure. We're only letting compatible dogs out at any time and making sure we don't leave anyone unsupervised. Alrighty, so for question 2, where is it here? What PPE is appropriate for an animal that is suspected of being ill? So at the shelter, usually we would make sure that that animal is isolated. So the isolation kennels are further away from the regular kennels. We also use a separate set of equipment for any animal we suspect of being ill, including separate leads, separate bowls, and separate scoopers as well for scoop and poop. We also need to make sure that when we're handling an ill animal that we wear an appropriate smock or apron or coveralls. We also need to be wearing gloves, and we need to be handling them with a towel and keeping contact away from contact. Question number 3. And for this species, what would be an unusual behaviour? So Scooby is a French Mastiff. He's only 7 months old. And he's been surrendered recently due to housing issues. So for Scooby, I would be worried if he was excessively growling, if he was hiding, limping, self-mutilating, over-grooming, not eating or drinking, showing signs of lethargy. If he wasn't happy to play or happy to see me, I would also be a bit concerned because Scooby is very people and food oriented. If he wasn't eating, that would be extra concerning for Scooby. What is a sign involving the coat or skin that you would need to report to your supervisor? So for Scooby, I would be concerned about hairless patches and random spots of baldness, which could indicate that he's over-grooming. I would also be looking for things such as uneven skin texture, a change in the colour of his fur in certain spots as well can be an indication of something is going wrong. I'd also be looking for things such as redness, swelling, evidence for parasites such as tick craters and flea dirt. I'd also be looking for the parasites themselves and feeling around to make sure that there are no other parasites evident on his body. Question number 5. What is the correct procedure for the disposal of waste or soiled bedding in this workplace? So for disposing of waste or soiled bedding, because we are a council facility, we do just throw them in the bin, and we do have a waste collection guy come by whenever he sees the red bins outside, which is really handy. Also, if we are handling waste and soiled bedding, if it's like feces and stuff like that, we need to be using the pooper scooper obviously, so that we're not making direct contact. And also with soiled bedding, I'd recommend using gloves. Question number 7. What would you be looking for in the enclosure that would indicate a problem that you would need to report to your supervisor? Okay, so for Scooby, I would be looking for things such as any evidence of bloody vomit or vomit in general, diarrhea. We'd also be checking out to make sure that the colour of his urine is normal. I'd also be checking to make sure that there are no parasites in his kennel area because we have had a rat problem in the past. I'd also be making sure that he has eaten all his food and that there is no uneaten food or treats hidden in his enclosure anywhere, because that can lead to things like botulism, which is really bad. I'd also be making sure that he is not vomiting or anything like that. If I found vomit, I'd be a little bit concerned. And also, sometimes we do find worms in the dog's feces, so I'd also report that. So anything that I found that would be abnormal for Scooby, I would definitely report to my supervisor immediately, and also write on his cage card so that the other staff are informed. Question 8. What would you do if any of the equipment was damaged? So I would report it to my supervisor, and depending on the type of equipment, I would also show the other staff and let them know as well. So say if it's a hose or something like that, or something that's built into the facility and it was broken, such as like the hose, a hydro bath, a tap, something like that, obviously I'd let the other staff know as well. But first thing I would do would be to notify my supervisor. If you notice that the supply of a product was low, what is the workplace protocol to report this? So at the shelter at the moment, we're very lucky to have had some really generous donations recently. So we have really high stock levels of pretty much everything we could need, which is amazing. But if supplies were low, I would obviously let the staff know and inform my supervisor so that we could rectify that immediately. And question number 10 is, how is this animal identified? So unfortunately, I forgot to get footage of me scanning for Scooby's microchip, but Scooby is identifiable by his microchip and also by his cage card. Scooby's microchip number is 982091065073576. Scooby, this is my boy, Scooby. Good boy.